Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Seen podcast. This week we'll be switching gears a little bit because, the last couple of weeks things have been a little bit heavy. But that's a part of that's the nature of the flow. You feel me? That's the nature of the flow. You got to go with what you got to go with. You feel me? But anyway, this week, EntrepreNEGUS, we're going to be talking about motivation, inspiration, and will. All right, so this conversation came about because I was having a conversation with one of my homeboys and shit. And, it was one of those, yo, bro, like, I appreciate what you do. I fuck with what you do. Like, you inspire me. You give me motivation to keep going. You inspire me and shit. So I asked him, I was like, all right, so let me ask you this. What will you do with that? And he was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to make my plans. I'm going to try to do what I need to do. I said, nah, what will you do with that? And he was like, I don't get what you're saying. And I was like, will is how you going to bring something into existence. You feel what I'm saying? And although this conversation could directly be just a regular podcast episode, I feel like making it entrepreneurs, of course, is going to apply to all things. But those are like the big three of, in my opinion, of being successful, like your motivation, your inspiration, and your will. Motivation and inspiration can come from outside sources, but will can only come from yourself. Right now, disclaimer, I know I got to give it. I get, people have their religious beliefs, whether it's God, Allah, Jehovah, Yeshua, Krishna, Buddha, whatever it is that you identify with, that is in control of your will. You have to follow that being's will or that deity's will or whatever the case may be. That's what buys your groceries, by all means, paper or plastic. But at the end of the day, there's still an inner will that you have. There's a willpower that you have that you still have to tap into, that you have to draw into your force. Now, if you're leveraging the force of the deity, if that's what you choose to postulate and bring into reality, by all means, do your thing. You feel what I'm saying? But at the same time, you have to understand that will is totally up to you. You feel what I'm saying? Your will is totally up to you. So if you want to will something to existence, or if you feel like something else has to will things into existence for you, that's totally up to you. But will is yours. You feel me? So however you define it is up to that. So, but anywho, disclaimer over. So that's what me and my homie was talking about and shit. And it kind of put things into perspective for me in a grander scale, because I frequently discuss and have conversations with people who say things like, yo, you give me so much motivation, you inspire me to do so much. And I always ask, what the fuck have you done with the inspiration? What the fuck have you done with the motivation? And I remember the first time I asked it, like, motherfucker said I was an asshole and shit, because, you feel me? It was like, I think it was like 2017. I said, by the end of the year, I said, if I ever motivated you or if I ever inspired you, by the end of the year, I need to see something tangible. You feel what I'm saying? And if not, then don't ever say that I motivate you. Don't ever say I inspire you. Because if that's the case, then you're telling me that I motivate you and I inspire you to do absolutely nothing. That shit pisses me off. Don't tie that to me, and don't tie me to that. If you're going to tell me that I motivate you, if you're going to tell me I inspire you, but with this motivation and with this inspiration, you do nothing with it. You feel me? Don't tie me to that. That's how I used to feel. But then I had to understand that, no, they can still tie me to the motivation. They can still tie me to the inspiration. What they can't tie me to is their own willpower, their own will, their ability to will what comes into reality. You feel what I'm saying? That ain't got shit to do with me. You feel me? That ain't got shit to do with me. Hell, the motivation and inspiration really ain't got shit to do with me either. But you feel me? In the grand scheme of it all, motivation, inspiration, and will, these things are tied to the person's, your success, your ability to be successful, your ability to do things and push yourself beyond your limits, and grow and develop the way you're supposed to. But before we dive heavy into that, we're going to take a quick break. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all who tip, sponsor, and donate to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the description of the podcast. Not the episode, but the podcast itself. That's this for that, and that's that for this. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into EntrepreNEGUS, whatever number I'm on at this point, motivation, inspiration, and will. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the Soul series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. We are about to get started and dive straight into it. All right. So motivation, inspiration, and will, right? These things are quintessential pieces to success, especially as an entrepreneur, but in life as a whole. You feel me? Something has to motivate you. Something has to inspire you, but you have to will the shit that has motivated you and inspired you. You have to will what you've been given with that, right? So when I talk to people and I speak with them and they talk about being successful, like this is one thing that I had to learn to stop doing. You feel me? And it comes to will. I'm gonna get heavier into it when I get to the will section, but when people I used to always be so optimistic and so unrealistic with my shit where I would say, you know what, if I can do it, you can do it. That's a phrase that I used to hear all the time growing up. Somebody would say, if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? I hear people say things like that to other people. When it really hit me, I was in MLM, right? 2016, I was in MLM. And these MLM shits, they be telling everybody, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. You feel what I'm saying? And it's bullshit. It's bullshit because those things are for motivation. Those things, I ain't gonna say they're for inspiration, but those things are for motivation as a whole. They are supposed to motivate you. That's it. That's it. So when they tell you you can do it, it's to build up the belief in you. You feel what I'm saying? Like y'all know how I get down when I talk about the 4 phases of the mind: belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Belief is the first aspect, but if you can't get through the wall of cognitive dissonance, you'll never be able to truly obtain knowledge. That knowledge you won't be able to apply, and that application of a knowledge won't become the wisdom, and the wisdom applied won't become the experience that leads to the understanding to know why the fuck you can do something. You feel what I'm saying? Knowing that you can do something is not enough. You have to know why you can do it too. You feel what I'm saying? And that's where all of this shit ties in. So I'm in this MLM, you feel me? And it's like the motivation, the inspiration is there. But it was like, what was the separating factor between the successful people and the people that were trying to climb the ranks? It was their willpower. It was their will. I would always hear people say shit like, yo, you can do anything you put your mind to. You can do anything and I had to learn how to change this. The mind is the first quintessential piece. It just gets you to the belief. Your will has to be what gets you there. That's your soul. Your will is tied to your soul. Your body is action. Your mind is thought. Your soul is action. Your soul is will. You have to will your thoughts to make your actions happen. You dig what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm going to dive heavier into that when I get to the will part. So when it comes to, those MLMs and shit, right? They be popping. Yo, I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. Them motherfuckers be popping like a motherfucker. You get in that bitch, it's a whole bunch of high energy and shit. But that's the thing. It's high energy. And it feels positive, but it's not necessarily positive energy. But it's a lot of high energy for a little quick burst to go send you back in the world to do absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because a lot of those people don't have will. They don't have the will to do the shit that they want to do. You feel what I'm saying? So that was one thing that I had to start transitioning from, in my entrepreneurship. And I used to tell people, started like this bullshit on Instagram, man, cut this shit out. Telling everybody can start a business. Everybody does not have the will to start a business. Even the motherfucker that's telling you to start a business. Some of the motherfuckers don't have the will. Will is something that's deeper within you. You feel me? Anyway, but when it comes to the willpower, right? First, let's let's deal with the motivation. So those MLMs and those things, they give you motivation. your favorite Instagram page, your favorite, motivational speaker to give you motivation. Oh, it's what gets me up in the morning. It's what this like. That's not what gets you up in the morning. Within that motivation, it taps in and drives your will. But again, I'm gonna save the will for last because the will is the most important piece. You dig what I'm saying? When we're trying to tell people, I used to tell people all the time, like, yo, you can do this. And here's like, I was involved with a woman and we were talking, talking about business and everything. And now I'm gonna give the flip side to that story because I've told the story several times about, her starting a school and all of the shit and everything like that. Now, it seemed like I would be, that was a bad thing and I was talking bad about her. I really wasn't. It's just how the conversation flowed. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't any ill will or any malice towards her. I don't have any beef with her. I don't have any qualms with her. But I had to understand that this was when I stopped putting so much into people as far as their business side to it. And, it kind of backfired on me because, I was having a conversation with another and woman's like, yo, you got to stop trying to act like they're your projects and take them on. I get it. But my thing is, I've always believed that if I can do something, somebody else can do it too. Those experiences where those women just wouldn't bring out the shit that they said they wanted to do. Yeah, I motivated them. I even inspired them, but I could not tap into their will because that's their will. They have to be the ones to tap into that shit, right? So like I was saying with how I was able to understand this concept, because in that woman saying she wanted to own her school and she wanted to do all of these things, and when it came time to her actually being in that position and when she didn't like the way the person spoke to her, you feel what I'm saying? She just quit. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, the fuck makes you quit? Like, why the fuck would you do some shit like that? Like, she just spoke. You didn't say shit back. She punked you. The fuck kind of shit are you on? But it was deeper than that. It was deeper than that. Her and I had two different wills. You feel me? We had two different wills. Therefore, it was going to be a different response. You feel me? My motivation, I can motivate her. I even inspired her to even take that step to get started, but I didn't make her, I could not do the will for her. I could not will her into the shit. You feel what I'm saying? And that's when it changed my perspective. I was like, you know what? I can't just tell people they can do what I do. You feel me? I just can't tell people that they can do whatever they put their minds to. They can do whatever they feel. You know what I'm saying? I had to stop telling people that shit because it wasn't a reality anymore. To be honest, it's never been a reality, and this is why I've noticed a lot of people get fucked up in situations like, yo, I tried it your way and it didn't work. You feel what I'm saying? Because we try to externalize our will onto another person. And I feel, this is me personally, but I feel like the reason why we try to assert our will on somebody and think somebody can do what we think we can do is because we have been stripped of our will through the control of other people. You know what I'm saying? Through other people controlling us and shit. You feel me? We're all controlled at some way, shape, or form. But the issue is that because everybody seeks to control things outside of themselves, they don't try to control themselves. Therefore, they don't have a chance to strengthen their will. You dig what I'm saying? And it starts in the home. It starts in the home. Parenting, a lot of parents will say, do as I say, not as I do. What is doing? It's action. Before action comes what? Thought. Becomes thought. Before thought comes what? Will. If you cannot even do what you're telling me to do, now you're trying to assert the control because you don't have the control, the self-control to even do that. You feel what I'm saying? This is no shot at anybody's parenting or anything like that. It's just the culture. It's just the way we are. You feel what I'm saying? It's just the way a lot of people are brought up. A lot of people are raised. You feel what I'm saying? Myself included. You feel me? But here's where it flipped for me because I'm the youngest. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody asserts their will. You feel me? It's like a trickle down effect. It went from my mama down to my brother down to my sister down to me. I love all of them in life. You feel me? I ain't got no beef with them because that's what made me. It's like, you feel me? The messages will be passed down. They'll be like, yo, Ma said clean this. She told me to tell you to do it. Did she really? Then it got to a point where I was like, yo, fuck it, get it done. That low key was transitioning me and transforming me into an action oriented motherfucker, like not waiting for anybody, because it's like, all right, I'll take control of my own situations because I know that, you know what I mean? On the grander scale, these things are going to get passed down to me anyway. You feel me? And then like when it come out, mom be like, no, I didn't tell him to do it. I told y'all to do it. And it's like, well, it's done now. So what the fuck? You feel what I'm saying? But it was all love. You feel what I'm saying? It was sibling shit. You feel what I'm saying? But like I said, that strengthened my will. It reached a point to where, when people say, never say can't. When I tell people that I can't, like, there's nothing that I can't do, this is why, because it's tied to my will. Because it's tied to my will and I have strengthened my will, I'm able to motivate myself. I'm able to inspire myself. You feel me? I don't need to get it outside of myself. But the point that I'm saying is going back to control. Because we have been conditioned into a culture that teaches you to not be accountable. Therefore, you have to externalize things on outside of people. Like, if you even check your religion, right? The basic religion tells everybody what they shouldn't do. You feel me? Like, has anybody, do we really sit with that? You feel what I'm saying? Like, for me, when I gave up religion and I picked up, African spirituality, my form that I look at is Mahdian or Natarianism. It's, it was what they practice in Kemet. Now, the reason why this is the one reason why I picked this up, because when I looked at the 42 tenets of Ma'at, everything says, I have not done this. I have not done that, as opposed to when I was Christian in the Bible, it says, thou shalt not. And if you understand the language, the TH would just replace with a Y. So it's saying you should not kill, you should not steal, you should not lie, you should not commit adultery. Y'all know the other 10, whatever. But the disconnect and the difference in that was that I was like, you know what? I needed to be more accountable for myself. So I decided to take control over myself as opposed to trying to assert control over another motherfucker. By me telling you, yo, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing this. That don't do shit for me. That don't do shit for my personal life. So I had to start tapping in and say, you know what? I have not done these things. I haven't. And that's when, the tenets of Ma'at came in. Now, this is not a plug to say, go fuck with what I fuck with. No, because again, you need my will to be able to understand how I do this shit. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it from this perspective, right? When I'm dealing with people and interacting with people on this level, it's like, yo, you motivate me. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they tell me I motivate, like, you motivate me. You inspire me. Therefore, the next step is for you to tell me that I should will you to do this. You feel me? And that's where the separation is between the entrepreneurship. Like, one of my big homies and shit, he hit me up. He was like, yo, bro, you a different breed. He said, you a different breed. He said, when I really sit down and think about, he said, all of the shit that you do, just like as far as, the different dynamics and the avenues of the shit that you do. Like, if you actually checked out my website, iamjustseeing.com, right? I'm not a linear person. Like, everything is different in some way, shape, or form. Like selling merch, the books that I have, 2 different niches and genres of books. You feel what I'm saying? I got Hitting It Raw, it's just plant-based information. Then I have So Frail, which is, kind of, I ain't gonna say esoteric, but it's like high-level information. You feel what I'm saying? And then it's like to go from there then to investing and trading and doing all these things. And they're like, yo, how are you able to do so many different dynamics and shit and still maintain them on equal levels? I'm like, well, it's the will. I don't feel like there's nothing I can't do. That comes from my will. I seriously don't feel like there's nothing I can't do. You feel me? I did a jam session one time, right? And one of my homegirls, well, she ain't really my homegirl. She's my Instagram homegirl. Like, you know what I'm saying? And motherfucker, y'all been traveling with each other for a long time. You just kind of know each other, but you don't know each other. You feel me? So she was like, yo, what can't you do? I said, I don't think I can die. It wasn't an arrogant thing. It was just like, yo, when I really put shit to, like, the only thing I can't do, you know what I'm saying, is die. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Like, that's the only thing I feel like. I'm saying that wrong. I really feel like I'm saying that wrong. It just don't sound like it's coming out right. Yeah, it just don't feel like it's coming out right. She's like, is there anything that you can't do? That's what it was. She said, is there anything that you can't do? I said, die. You feel what I'm saying? And by that, I wasn't saying like I can't lose my life, but I look at death as just a point. Death is a chance to be reborn again. If I die in something, or if I lose in something, or like dying is like the ultimate loss. You feel what I'm saying? But if I can overcome it, I can be reborn again in this shit. You feel what I'm saying? So that's how, again, that comes from my African spirituality understandings. You know what I'm saying? But that one dynamic shows me like, yo, why is it that I feel like I can't do that? There's nothing that I can't do. You feel me? Like Jay-Z said in Diamonds Are Forever, he said, difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week, or some shit like that. I was like, yo, that shit's so cold. And like, I quote a lot of Jay-Z because when I go back and listen to him, you know, after I had to break my mind out of, you know, he's Illuminati and all this shit, when I actually started learning what the fuck he was talking about, bruh, cold. But the full gamut of all of this shit was like, you know, when he did, he said, I will not lose. I was like, why is he saying I will not lose? I'm thinking like, yo, you can lose and everything. He said, it's like, yo, it's not that I can't lose. He said, I will not lose. He never said he couldn't lose. He never said he doesn't lose. He says he will not lose. Will. It was in his will. His will was not to lose. That's a powerful sentiment right there. You feel what I'm saying? And I know I'm kind of drifting and staying on will because I'm about to get back to motivation, but the full component of all of this was that will is the final point. Will is the final point. Will is when your soul says, this is what it is. I will not do this. You feel what I'm saying? When I was younger, my siblings and shit, I think I told this story too. They used to always tell me to do something. I'm like, I will. I would do it on my own time. It would get done, but I will. They used to laugh all the time. They used to say they hate that shit. You feel me? To this day, they still make jokes about it. I asked them to do something. They're like, I will. I'm like, I didn't even say the shit like that. They were like, yes, you did. But that was something I realized that I think I had in me at such a young age. The will. You know what I'm saying? And it started to, you know, I started to study like great people. And they will always say the same shit. I just had the will to win. I was like, what the fuck does that mean though? You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like, were you motivated? I'm always motivated. Were you inspired? I'm always inspired. Kobe Bryant is the quintessential piece, in my opinion. This is why I say Kobe's the best basketball player ever. I don't give a fuck who want to argue, who want to smoke, goddamn. Kobe is the best. And this, the only reason why I say Kobe is the best is because Kobe got all 5 of his rings in different eras. First, he got his first 3 with Shaq, and they said, can you do it again? You feel what I'm saying? And he did it again with a whole totally different squad. You feel what I'm saying? So they were like, he can't, you know what I'm saying? He couldn't do it. He said, I will. He willed, and he got 2 more rings. He would have got his 6th, but he tore his Achilles and shit and all of that. But that's why I said that, because it's like his will was different. Now, Jordan had his own will too, like to play during a flu game when he didn't really have a flu. He just had food poisoning, but the flu game sounded better. Anyway, so this was all about will. So it's like when I look at great people, all of the greats, I noticed that they never, they never had anything that motivated them except something they did. Like, what was it? Was it Kobe or Jordan? It was one of the two. They learned how to, no, it was Jordan. It was Jordan in this one. He would set some shit up purposely just to give himself the motivation. He was like, yo, he was trash talking me. They was like, did you really say something? No, I didn't say shit to Jordan. He said, oh, he ain't say shit to me. I just needed some motivation. He knew how to channel in his own motivation. You feel what I'm saying? He learned how to channel in his own motivation. That's powerful. That's powerful as fuck because that's tied to your will. So our motivation is just a spark. The motivation you have is the spark. You feel me? People can lead you and they can motivate you all day long. You feel what I'm saying? And it can come in a spurt. It can last for a day. Like I get it all the time. I get it all the time. People hit me up, DM me, you know, comment and shit. Yo, bro, you motivated me to do so much. You know, year passed, 2 years passed. What did you do with the motivation? You didn't have the will. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you inspired me to do so much. What did you do with this inspiration? You know, and the reason why I'm saying inspiration follows motivation, because motivation is just a thing. This is why I was talking about those MLMs and shit, right? With the MLMs, the motivation is just like, boom, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. It's like, So there's some people that just like to thrive on motivation. I like being motivated. Motivate me. You feel what I'm saying? Some people, you put your music on in your headphones when you go to the gym to be motivated. You feel what I'm saying? Motivate you. Like motivation, it's like, damn, I need motivational music to get me to do something, to get my inertia built. Motivation just overcomes inertia. Motivation is what starts in what motivation. I like how I'm about to put this. Motivation starts momentum. It overcomes inertia, right? Inspiration keeps momentum going. Will ensures that the momentum will never stop. You dig what I'm saying? About to break all of that shit down in a second. Check it. Picky. Nah, I had to break the tension. Look, so check this out, right? So when you get motivated, right, it's just the thing to get over the inertia, right? It's to get you moving. That's what it is, motivation. But a lot of people like to thrive on just motivation. They like to start and stop. They don't necessarily like it, but sometimes that's just the realm that they're caught in. I stop, I start, I stop, I start, I stop, I start. And then I keep that same cycle and that same flow going continuously, right? But motivation, as long as it comes from outside of you, it's going to be hard to tap into to make inertia be overcome. Because I always tell people, this is one of the reasons why I practice ominism. You feel me? I know a lot of people be thinking I'm atheist, but I'm really not. I'm really ominous. Like, there's shit, like, I fucks with all of it. You feel me? I talk shit, but you feel me? I fucks with all of it. You feel what I'm saying? One of my homies told me, he was like, everybody's an atheist. He said everybody's an atheist. He was a true atheist. He actually admitted that. He actually said that. He was like, everybody's an atheist. He said, I'm just going to one less hell than everybody else. No, he said, I'm going to one more hell than everybody else. I was like, bruh, I see what you're saying. But this was before all of that other shit. But me, on the other hand, like, I'm an ominous. Like, I will literally say, okay, bam. Like, I got family that'll look at me, you know what I'm saying? And be like, how dare you quote it? Bitch, I still know the shit. You feel me? Non-binary, but I still know the shit. Just because I don't fuck with it doesn't mean I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not aware of what's in it. You feel what I'm saying? And it is in that understanding that I've learned how to be able to, because I gave my mind the access to go to wherever it wants to go. I'm not confined to anything. I can draw on motivation wherever I want to draw on motivation from. You feel me? Any place I want to draw motivation from. When you confine to a certain school of thought, when you are confined to a certain construct, what's going to happen is that is the only construct that can motivate you. You dig what I'm saying? This is why a lot of times, in 2020, when they kept motherfuckers out of church, a lot of motherfuckers started losing their shit, because church is the only place that gives them motivation on Sunday. The other 6 days, they don't do shit with it, but they feel good. My spirit is up. I'm going to tackle the week. Okay, Monday comes, they happy Tuesday, then the rest of the week is done. You feel me? Up until Saturday, they recharge on Sunday. So you feel what I'm saying? What I'm saying is they can only draw their motivation in that. You dig what I'm saying? That's the only thing that can give them any kind of motivation. And when you're linear in that and you're limited on what can motivate you, everything else will stop you. You can somebody that's not even fucking with you can give you some very, very solid gems, and you'll miss them simply because I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with that. You feel what I'm saying? Case in point. When it came to marketing myself, selling myself, I learned this shit from a homeless man. No bullshit. I learned how to market myself from a homeless man. And let me tell you how this motherfucker got me, yo. I'm gonna tell you, this was a smooth motherfucker, right? So I'm walking, this is when I first moved to Philly. So this is like 2015. I'm going to class. This is before I quit. I'm on my way to class, and I see this homeless man sitting on the side. You know what I'm saying? He said, yeah. He said, what you got for me, young blood? I was like, trying to be the good Samaritan and shit. I had him $4, thinking I'm doing something. He like, I appreciate it, man. He was like, man, have a good one, bro. And like every day, I would he would be right there posted up. I would always speak to him. Like he became a low-key friend. You feel what I'm saying? So one day, like, I cannot make this shit up. One day I'm walking to class. He like, what you got for me, young blood? I said, yo, I'm tapped out, bro. I ain't got nothing today. He said, it's all right, man. I did all right. This motherfucker pulled a knot out and started counting it. And then gonna say, yeah, I think I did pretty good today. Take it on to the bank. Wait a minute, motherfucker. You homeless and you got a bank account? How the fuck? He said, look, man, I'm gonna tell you something, young blood. He was like, you see that brother over there? He said, I beat him every single day. I said, wait, y'all homeless people competing? He was like, nah, we ain't competing. It's just that You see, he's standing there looking helpless. He said, I look homeless. I don't look helpless. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? Hold up. He said, look, he got his sign out. He got his cane. You feel me? He dirty. He didn't have a dude that was talking to me, didn't have a cane. But I started to say, motherfucker, you look dirty. What the fuck you talking about? He was like, but you see his energy. When he said that, I knew it was something different. I said, this motherfucker's a hustler, bro. But he was like, do you see his energy? He said, do you see how he carries himself? You feel what I'm saying? He carries himself as if he's defeated, as if he should not get this money. I don't. He said, watch me work. I literally stood there. He said, look, he said, it's all in how you talk to the people. He literally just walked up to a random car because he posted up where the cars had to stop. Not only did they have to stop, it was 2 lights. So they had to stop twice. So if you didn't pay him, he's going to walk to the next light and get your ass. Shit was genius, right? He'd be like, watch me work. And when he said that, he walked straight to the car. He had his cane too. That was the dynamic to it. No, he did have a cane. Both of the dudes had a cane. One was a veteran. He had it written on the sign. He just had his cane or whatever. And I was like, what's the difference in this shit? And dude told me, he said, it's the energy, right? So he walked up to him. Never forget, it was a black car with a white woman in it. You feel what I'm saying? I said, yo, he better scare the shit out of her. She ain't gonna get this nigga no money. You feel me? He walked up to her. He said, how you doing, Miss Lady? He was like, what you got for me? He ain't big. He ain't like, it was a different type of asking. And she just rolled down the window, gave him $5. He said, see, that's what I'm talking about. He said, I like to see a pretty smile in the day and everything. And then he dropped the act and walked back to the mailbox. That was his spot. He posted up on the mailbox and just put the money with his stat. He said, see, he said, you got to make people like you. He said, everybody ain't gonna like you. He said, everybody don't give me no money. He said, but you got to make people like you. He said, you got to make people see and feel you. He said, he's not making them feel him. He's making them feel sorry for him. I said, damn, boom, light bulb went off because I'm thinking as an entrepreneur and shit. Now this is a quick tangent, but I watch how a lot of entrepreneurs in their beginning stages try to guilt people into that shit. Oh, your family won't support you. Your friends won't support you. That's a defeated energy. That's a defeated energy because when you start to put that energy out into the universe, what you're saying is my closest and immediate circle doesn't want to support me. Why? You feel me? I used to be on that type of energy. I used to be on that shit. But then that homeless man taught me. You feel me? A homeless motherfucker, not an entrepreneur, not a 6-figure motherfucker, not an 8-figure motherfucker, not a motherfucker that's like, no, that's not who taught me how to market. A homeless motherfucker did. And he basically said, man, you can't let yourself look defeated. You can't let yourself be defeated. He said they're going to attract confidence. They're going to attract to the energy that you put out. He said, I'm homeless, but I'm not hopeless. Whoo, shit. I said, damn, that was different. But I said that to say this part. When most motherfuckers would not have been able to sit that long or be able to engage in the conversation. I was late to class that day for that lesson. But anyway, most motherfuckers would not be able to sit and have that engagement with the homeless person or with the person that's not affiliated with what they're stuck in solely because the presentation is different. So I'm saying that to tie back into motivation. How can you be motivated? Because only what you feel can motivate you will motivate you. You dig what I'm saying? I hope you fucking with me. I hope you following me on that shit. When you get confined into that and your dynamic and everything that you're focused on is solely about how well, or you're affiliated with a certain thing. You feel what I'm saying? Because when you're affiliated with a certain thing, what's going to happen is that is all that is going to be tied into your reality. And that's the only place you can draw motivation from. You dig what I'm saying? That's the only place you can draw motivation from. And if that's only the place you can draw, you got to think about it. How often are you actually affiliated with what can draw motivation on you? I use the church as an example because people only go to church on Sundays. So Sunday from 9 to 1, however long we in church, black folks is all day. But Sunday from 9 to 1, 9 to 5, if you got 2 services, that's the only time you can get your motivation. And then outside of church, you're not going to listen to anybody who's not, quote unquote, in the church or who's not, tied to that shit. You know what I mean? I know for a fact right now, there's motherfuckers that will never take my advice solely because I don't fuck with the shit they fuck with. You feel what I'm saying? I can't motivate them people. There's nothing that I can do to tap into the reality, to draw in and draw anything out of them, or to do anything to get their inertia going. Like absolutely nothing at all. You feel what I'm saying? And when I when I started plant-based and I try to put people onto it, motherfuckers won't listen to me, right? Motherfuckers be like, I'll be like, yo, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem, right? Health-wise, health-wise, health-wise. Motherfuckers be like, I'm gonna do some research looking at that. I promise you. It'll be like 2 years later, they'll come to me. Did you know about this? Yep, I told you about this X, Y, and Z. Oh, because I was watching Dr. Oz. Oh, my motherfucking goodness. So it takes that motherfucker to be able to tell you the same shit that I told you. But do you see how we're tapped in and we're locked in and confined into a certain reality that we can only draw on the motivation to do something through a specific medium? You feel what I'm saying? I don't have that anymore. And it got to the point, when I get to the will again, it got to that point of will where I was able to say, I can choose what can motivate me. You feel me? I can choose what I can tap into to motivate me. A lot of people don't have that. When it comes to our entrepreneurship, when it comes to your entrepreneurship journey, you're going to find those motivators. You're going to find those people that motivate you. How do you keep that motivation going? How do you keep that motivation? You feel me? Sometimes motivation only lasts 5 minutes. Sometimes it can last 5 days. Sometimes it can last 5 years. You dig what I'm saying? But it's the spark. Motivation is simply the spark to overcome inertia, to get you off your ass. You feel me? To get you off your ass. There's a lot of people I know that they get motivated by some of the shit that I say, but I can tell that they're not going to act on it. It's no slight to them. It's no slight to them. You feel me? Because they still good people, but I can tell they're not going to get off their ass simply by the way that they respond. They be like, why are you so loud? That is almost like a knee-jerk response. When I hear people say that shit to me, like, yo, why are you so loud? I know they just, it's a part of the feels. But because of that, some people will never draw on the motivation and take it to the next level, which is inspiration, right? So when we look at inspiration, I think we need to understand, and this is how, this is why I'm going to go into the will part being tied to the soul, because inspiration derives from the word spirit. It derives from spirit. Spirit, if you go back, languages, you'll find that spirit means breath. Spirit means breath. You feel what I'm saying? And it's powerful to know that it means breath, because the spirit is denoted to breath because the breath is where the breath is the single solitary point. It's the single solid point of balance. The breath encodes balance. You inhale, you exhale. And now let's take it a step deeper. If you look in your physical body, breathing is literally the only autonomic function that you can control. You breathe automatically, unless you're dead. When you are alive and your heart is beating, you breathe automatically. You don't have to control your breathing. But yet you can control your breathing. This is why I'm saying that it's tied to inspiration, because the spirit is tied to the breath. And we know that the breath denotes the balance, both automatic and autonomous breathing and the controlled breathing. You feel what I'm saying? Then you have two types of breathing. You have breathing into your chest, which is response to fight or flight. You feel me? And you also have breathing down into your diaphragm, which is response to rest and digest. You feel me? So let's say, when you're meditating, they teach you to breathe down into your stomach. Do you know why? Because it puts your body in parasympathetic mode, which is rest or digest. You're no longer in fight or flight response. This is why I tell people all the time, a lot of motherfuckers don't even have high blood pressure from food that they eat. They have high blood pressure because they're in a sympathetic state and they're in a position of fight or flight response. So when you're in fight or flight response, your vessels constrict. Your vessels constrict so blood can flow faster because the pressure increases, right? What fucks people up is that they have clogged arteries and shit, and it fucks with the blood. So what happens is when you take blood pressure medicine, it redilates your vessels. As opposed to a doctor telling you, yo, you're in sympathetic mode. You need to switch to parasympathetic mode, which means you need to calm yourself down. How do you calm yourself down? You diaphragmatic breathe. Breathe down into your diaphragm. Why? Because that breathing shifts, it controls your body's ability to shift itself back into rest and digest state, to calm the fuck down. But as long as you're breathing heavy into your chest, you feel what I'm saying? And you're in your fight or flight response, you'll never calm down. Nothing will ever normalize. You feel me? That was just a quick, lesson and shit like that of the body. But anywho, so the breathing is something that we can control, but it's also automatic too. If you held your breath, like when kids, my little nephew did this shit to me, right? He tried to flex on me. Motherfucker gonna hold his breath until he got his way. All right. I know what you don't know. How about that? You gonna hold your breath you want to, your body is gonna kick back in and you're gonna breathe. You can't do it forever. Let's see who wins. You feel me? Oh, see, that's so mean. Fuck that. He had to learn the hard way. Feel me? Certain shit, you can't flex certain shit on me. I'm gonna hold my breath. All right. You're gonna pass out first, and then your body's gonna start breathing again. You'll be all right. My bad, yo. My bad. I know I'll be doing the kids dirty. Because I love the kids, though. They gotta learn, though. With love comes correction. So anyway. So like I said, that is an automatic function. That is also what you can control. And you can control it when you start to breathe into your diaphragm, because you now shift your body into parasympathetic state, which is rest to digest, right? So tying this into inspiration. Inspiration, because it comes from spirit, but the word inspiration, of course, it means to take in spirit, right? To take in spirit, to take in the breath. You feel me? You feel what I'm saying? So when somebody says, yo, you inspired me, they are telling me that, yo, bro, I just took in your spirit. Now, granted, they're not soul suckers. I'm not talking about no crazy shit like that. Let's not put the mysticism in there. But they took in my spirit. Right? So if somebody inspires, because inspire means to take in, expire means to give out. When you're breathing, you have an inspiration breath and you have an expiration breath. You feel what I'm saying? So when you are inspired, you feel me? You have taken something in. When you have expired, what? You have given it out. You feel what I'm saying? So when people tell me after the motivation, yo, you motivate me. Okay, cool. You got over the inertia. Now it's time for your inspiration. Now it's time for you to keep the momentum going. How are you inspired? How do you draw into the inspiration? If I'm inspiring you, then that means you're relying on my spirit to keep your momentum going. What happens when I'm no longer in the picture? You feel me? This is why I always say my relationship should be built off of like body, like mind, like soul, because especially if we're going to be doing business together as a relationship, like as far as, and that was one of the things that used to get me. Like the women would say, I want to be in the business. I want to be doing this. Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool. But I would inspire them, but they couldn't inspire themselves. Therefore, my inspiration is what was the energy. It was the spirit that they were taking in to keep going. You dig what I'm saying? It's like channel, like they say it's channeling, whatever the case may be. It's inspiration. Where do you get your inspiration from? You feel me? Where do you draw your inspiration on? You see something and you take in the spirit of it. And then you feel me? It ain't no different. They be like, yo, I'm channeling, I'm in the spirit of Michael Jackson, the spirit of this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you hear it, like that's what inspiration is. You feel me? It is to take in the spirit of whatever it is that is going to keep your momentum going, right? So to be inspired, you feel me? How, like, where do you draw it from? So now we have to go back into the motivation perspective of, if your inspiration can only come from one thing, then where are you going to get, where else can you be inspired from? You feel what I'm saying? Where can you be inspired from? You feel me? So it's like, I really don't want to say this part, but I guess I got to. When what inspires you is solely tied to a belief, is why I mentioned the part about the mind being belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You feel me? But when it's solely tied to a belief, you dig me? And you have not attained knowledge, wisdom, or any understanding about this belief, you're going to be very limited in what you can actually be inspired by. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket, so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback, so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield, so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand, so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push, so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Mastering the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. You dig what I'm saying? Because anything outside of that is wrong. Something that I've learned about religious people, I used to be this exact same motherfucking way. You feel what I'm saying? Anything that I did not understand was evil, or it was of the devil in some way, shape, or form. Or anything that I was told I could not understand or I shouldn't understand is of the devil. You feel what I'm saying? Imagine believing everything not confined within the realms of where you are is the devil or shaitan or whatever, you calling it. You feel me? How do you draw inspiration? You feel me? Because like I said, Jay-Z has inspired me a lot. Jay-Z has literally inspired me in a lot of shit. But there was a time when I couldn't even use the inspiration. Because it'll be like, yo, he Illuminati, bro. Like he Illuminati, bro. I remember when I had to be 23. I was 22, 21 or 22. Whatever year the song Empire State of Mind came out. And Jay-Z said, and Jesus can't save you. Life starts when the church ends. Didn't get it at the time. But I was like, that's blasphemy, you motherfucker. I can't listen to Jay no more because he is the devil, he Illuminati, he this, that, and the third. Until my life started when the church ended. My bad, bro. I see what you was talking about. I see what you were talking about. But his lyrics and shit, the shit that he was saying would give me so much game. And I'd be like, but I can't take it in because he's the devil. I can't even listen to it because nigga the devil, bro. I can't fuck with it, bro. You just dropped the gem on me and I can't even accept it because you the devil. You feel what I'm saying? You the motherfucking devil, ho. It's blasphemy. It's like you got a song called Lucifer and then listen to the lyrics of Lucifer and it's like, wait, what? That's not even, it's the sample. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I get why. But then it's like, now that I'm older, Lucifer means the light bringer. Oh shit, he who brings the light. Why? You know what I'm saying? It's little shit like that. It was like, but in the times, it's little shit that he would say that I'm like, man, I can't even take that in. I'm inspired to do this, that, and the third, but I can't take it in because nigga, you the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like, you the fucking devil. But that is how a lot of us are, not just from a religious perspective, but in life in general. You know what I'm saying? You know how many people, like, I love the fact that I call my podcast Profane Profanity because it weeds the people out who need me to talk a certain way. You feel what I'm saying? Who need me to talk a certain way. So it's like when people hear certain shit that I say, they can't take it in because of the way I deliver it. You feel me? Not y'all, of course. Y'all fucks with me, bruh. Y'all fucks with me. That's why I do this shit. You feel me? But there's certain people who will literally ignore everything that I say because of how I'm saying it. You dig what I'm saying? I got, case in point, I literally have family members. Now, mind you, like I said, I studied the Bible. Studied it for 7 years. I didn't just skim through it. Y'all can hear the way that I be talking about the shit. And if you follow me on Instagram, you be hearing the way I break certain shit down. But I studied this motherfucker for 7 years. While I was in it, my family was like, yo, you know the word so well. They would literally sit and listen to me talk about it. Right? Now, they say, I don't know what I'm talking about. They ask me, did you really read it? Y'all really think 7 years just got wiped clean off the slate? You feel what I'm saying? But because I'm not affiliated with what they like, they can no longer hear it. Now, granted, and most of the time when I'm talking, I'm only talking to them about what's in the Bible, like what's in the book, and they can't hear anything outside of that. Like, you feel me? I was talking to one of my aunties and shit, and she was bragging about something. I said the Bible say don't be haughty. What you know about? Fuck you mean what I know about it? I didn't forget. You feel what I'm saying? It doesn't just because you leave something alone doesn't mean it's just gone and it's just boom out of your mind. Nah, you feel me? But my thing is this: if y'all are gonna fuck with it, like, well, you don't even follow. Yes, I know, but you do, so you need to stick to it. There's no reason why a motherfucker that's not fucking with your shit should be reminding you how much you should fuck with your shit. You feel me? But the point that I was in, that's the point. They could not draw on inspiration because of that. You feel me? But it's very funny. It's ironic too. But now it's at a point they are now studying their Bible to argue with me. I still be whooping their ass, but they study it to argue with me. They be like, "You remember when you said such and such?" Well, I look back into it and I say, "Okay, now did you check this part out and this part and this part out?" Oh, nah. See, you're not reading it for you. You're reading it to argue with me, and you're not realizing why I'm whooping your ass with this shit because I know the motherfucker. You feel what I'm saying? But the point of that is this. So now when I tell people, now when I'm talking to my little cousins and shit, giving them game about life. You feel what I'm saying? When I'm giving them game about life, they be like, "Oh no, you can't take that advice because he don't believe in this. So you can't draw on." Like, I got a little cousin that want to be an architect and an entrepreneur, right? You feel me? He'll call me up. Hey, Ray, can you help me with my math? All right, cool. They'll call me over there to help him with the math and shit. But I'm like, yo, so like it's conditional. You feel what I'm saying? With drawing on the inspiration. You feel me? But it's like I inspire him. You feel me? But what he's taught, it's like he can't draw on the full inspiration of what I do. You feel what I'm saying? Like they would tell him, oh, go to college. And he asked me, should I go to college? Only if you want to, bro. It ain't worth it. Nah, they say I can get it. I'm telling you, bro, I got a good degree. The shit ain't fucking worth it, bro. The fuck? Nah, I'm just saying, like, I said, all right, cool. You ain't got to listen. You feel me? They think because I dropped out. You feel me? I dropped out after I got my bachelor's degree. After I kept being in school, like, yo, this shit ain't gonna do me no good. You feel me? Motherfuckers talking to old heads, like, I'm able to register certain shit. Again, this has come from being able to be not tied down to one thing. I'm talking to old heads who would be like, yeah, man, when I was entry level, I was making, he said, when I first started working, entry level was like 31,000, 32,000. So what? How? I said, when'd you start working? You feel me? It was about 30 years ago. Wow. 30 years ago, entry level is still at that point. Okay, now, then they will also say, yeah, when I was in school, I was able to work a summer job to pay my tuition. A summer job? Bitch, I gotta work a full-time job and take out loans. Let me do the math here. So the price of schooling is rising exponentially, but the price, the pay rate after is rising linearly. Oh, mind fuck. They try to tell me I wouldn't use math anymore after high school. Kiss my ass, motherfucking shit. I knew them graphs. That shit, this shit fucking, the price of education is going up in a parabolic function. And the outcome of me getting paid is linear. Hence why we're having EntrepreNEGUS conversations right motherfucking now. But anywho, those are things that come. I was able to draw on my inspiration. I could have went and listened to another motherfucker who went a different route, who would have been like, well, I'm in this position, so it works. Like, nah, I got to draw my inspiration where it makes sense. You feel what I'm saying? But if you can only be inspired by certain things, like had I known what I known about college, I wouldn't have went. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I wouldn't have went. Now, at the time, I still would have went. I would have had to go because now that I think about it, like, I don't know I didn't know then what I know now. So I would have went to college. Like, it was kind of like, this is what got me here. But it's like, I didn't have anybody to draw on inspiration and give me another way. It was college is the only way out. You dig what I'm saying? And I'm in the position at that point where my friends are going to prison. Now we getting death threats and shit, and motherfuckers want to shoot and kill. I'm not. No, I'm too young to die, and I'm too slim to go to prison. And I'm handsome. Fuck that. No, I can't fight every fucking day, bro. I'm not doing that shit. No, fuck that. So I said I'm gonna go to college. Right? That was the only way. It was never even. I never even received the inspiration to start a business because nobody around me did it. You feel me? Nobody around me did it. The drug dealers, they just sold drugs. That was their business. So I did get the business acumen from them. I ain't even gonna hold you. I got my business acumen from the trappers. You feel what I'm saying? But that's who taught me to get the money, like get this money. But I just had to do it legally. I was like, all right, cool. Now I merged the game. It is what it is. You feel what I'm saying? So when drawing on inspiration, it's like if you're not able to be if you're not functional to be inspired by anything, you won't be inspired by anything. It's only certain things that will inspire you. And then now you have to figure out, because then when it starts to get saturated, you're like, nobody listens to when you start to get locked into a box, you stop listening to the people in that box because you can't leave outside of that. You feel me? So how do you get inspired? How do you take in somebody's spirit? And then when you start to get a spirit of discernment, you start to know which spirits you can take in or not, which ones can draw inspiration, which you can draw inspiration from or not. You feel what I'm saying? We look at it all the time in sports or whatever the case may be. Like there's a person that has a dramatic game. And, I think what was it? Jordan's third ring was when his dad died or whatnot. Chris Paul, when his grandfather died, he dropped like 60 points. After Nipsey Hussle died, Russell Westbrook dropped 20, 20, and 20. He had the triple double of all 20s. You draw on inspiration. You take in someone's spirit and you channel it and use it. Our ancestors been teaching this shit. You feel what I'm saying? We learned that it's demonic now. You feel me? Religion is teaching us it's demonic. So demonic. So now if you understand, quick tangent. If you actually study what a demon is, right? This is not to say go study like demons from the movie perspective, but understand the Greek language of what a demon was. A demon before was demon, and so mystified it was pronounced daemon, Daemon, right? But what that is genius. A demon or the daemon is the dark side of a person. It's the dark side of your person, but that is where your creativity comes in. I always say this every time. I be saying it, and I never really knew why I was saying it, but I'm like, good triumphs over evil when good does what evil does. You feel me? Pay attention to whatever movie you want to watch, whatever superhero, until the superhero or the main character gets with the shits, the motherfucker get his ass whooped. You dig what I'm saying? They got to be with the shits, and that comes from your dark side. You feel me? Star Wars, embrace the dark side. Why? Because it's a balance. It's a balance, and that is where your creativity comes in. That is where your genius is. And genius is not a thing you have. No, genius is not what you are. It's what you have, and you have to tap into it. But that was a quick tangent. But if you study demons, I'm not saying go study demons in the Aleister Crowley perspective or whatever, but I'm saying solely from the word and what the Greek people and what the people that actually, when you start understanding what people be talking about, you got to understand the language in which it came from. You got to think about demon was first, expressed by, for quote unquote Caucasians who gave it to us in the Greek. That's their highest form of expression. Our ancestors didn't have a word for dark forces like that in the negative context in which we're talking about. They understood balance. So they never seen it as a good or evil. They seen a one side or another, like two sides to the same coin. It wasn't necessarily this is an evil part, stay away from it. It's like, nah, embrace it. This is why if you study the story of Heru, this is why I study and I look at Natarianism because I understand the different levels to it. In the story of Heru, when he goes after a star is killed by Set or whatnot, scattered across the land and shit, and he's killed by Set, then his wife Set has to put him back together, then Heru has to ultimately beat Set or whatnot, right? But that whole story is dope because Asar represents the soul, Set represents wisdom. Set is the ego, right? So ego kills the soul. And it takes wisdom to bring the soul back together. So Heru has to then fight the ego. But I paid attention. In no story did Heru ever kill him. Heru never killed Set. I was like, why the fuck did he never kill him? He worked with him. He mastered him, and then they worked together. You master your ego. You feel what I'm saying? But all of that was to say that and tie this back into inspiration. Because if you don't embrace both sides of yourself, you'll only be able to be inspired by one side that you're affiliated with. You feel what I'm saying? And you'll never be able to draw on anything successfully, right? So when you're taking in a spirit, you feel what I'm saying? When you're taking in someone's spirit, you have to have the spirit of discernment to be able to know what it is. And you have to be able to recognize the evil spirit or a dark force, whatever the case may be, in order to not be inspired by one. You feel what I'm saying? And how do you do that other than by embracing the one that is within yourself first? Mastering it, conquering it, so you can have a solid spirit of discernment. Everybody talks about the spirit of discernment being so on point, and it's really not. Because if our spirits of discernment were really that on point, we'll be able to understand our dark side too. We avoid our dark sides, only try to tap into our light side and wonder why our dark side keeps showing up. Oh, the devil busy. The devil busy. The Lord testing me. Whatever it is the case may be, it's your dark side trying to be understood. You choose not to understand it. Therefore, now when we tie this back into entrepreneurship, when we tie this back into the context of the episode, inspiration, you're taking in a spirit. What kind of spirit are you taking in? And because you don't have the discernment, you're not able to draw in on the right spirits. You feel what I'm saying? Now, understand me well. This is not me saying, you feel me? Go conjure some shit up and let motherfuckers into your being. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying inspiration means that you are drawing in the spirit of the thing that is inspiring you. When people tell me that I have inspired them, I know that they are drawing on the spirit of whatever it is that I'm doing. They're not siphoning me off because I don't allow that shit. But whatever it was that I did, my spirit was infused in it and it inspired them. They took it in. So now we're going to tie all of this back and go back from the motivation to the inspiration. The motivation is the spark that overcomes the inertia. You dig what I'm saying? The inspiration is taking it in the spirit to keep the momentum going. Now we go into the will. This is why inspiration has to be what it is, because the will belongs to the soul. The will belongs to the soul. And in entrepreneurship, it is your own will that's going to get shit done. You know, they always say this motherfucker was demonic and shit. And he might very well be, but he said something very, very potent. You feel me? And they were like, yo, you quoting, I'd be like, do what thou will. I get why Aleister Crowley said that. Oh, you quoting a known Satanist. Motherfucker might be a Satanist. I don't fuck with the satanic part of what the fuck he's talking about. But when he says do what thou will, I get it. Because we know that thou is you, and in the case may be, do what you will. That's powerful. Not do what you want. You feel me? That's where people are fucking up, because I was just talking to my homie. I was just talking to my bro Pat yesterday about this. And I said, we fluently speak a language that we don't understand. This is the shit that I'm talking about in that. We fluently speak a language that we don't understand. So when people say do what you will, you feel what I'm saying? People have made that, like, this is why I'm like, you need definitions. You don't need synonyms, because people think will and want are the same thing. I want to do this. You feel me? It's the same as I will do this. No. So when he says do what thou will, you feel me? He's not saying do what you want, as in there's no consequences, do whatever the fuck you want. No, do what you will. Whatever your soul can conjure to bring into reality, you do that because you have the power to do so. You feel me? Two dynamics to that is that as people, you know, we automatically give our will up to something else. We don't even know that we have our own will. You feel what I mean? Like it annoys me at times, but I understand it because I used to do it. When I used to do things, like, my success didn't come until I took my will back. I know it seems crazy. Like, well, you know, at one point in time, I gave my will to the deity that I served. Why? You feel me? Why? You know, I was talking to my auntie, and she told me, she said, you cannot understand the mind of God. I was like, you can't, but I can. This is, you know, more recent times. And she was like, no, you can't. You cannot understand the will. You can't understand the mind of God. I said, well, how the hell are you going to follow his will? I ain't say hell because, you know, I got respect for my auntie and shit. But the point was, How can you follow the will of something if you can't understand its mind? Because as I said, the will is the soul, the mind is the thought, the action is the body. Thought precedes action. Will precedes thought. If I'm following the will of something I can't understand, what do you think my actions are going to be? Complete confusion. You dig what I'm saying? It's going to be confusion. And I'm not saying it in the sense of, listen to what I'm saying. That's not what I mean. I'm just giving you the logic because this is the experience that I had, because now I had to look at it like, okay, damn, when I really look at my life, I never really knew what to do. I was always confused about shit. I rarely took action because I was so uncertain about so much shit in my life. Because I was like, if this is not God's will, then I don't know what God's will is. I will always ask people, what's God's will? Oh, you just gotta have faith. And no, I don't. At this point, I don't need faith. I need to know. I need clarity. You feel what I'm saying? But it's like, you can't understand the mind of God yet. You gotta follow God's will. Whether God, Allah, Jehovah, Yeshua, Krishna, Buddha, they say the same shit. You cannot understand this deity's mind. So how can I follow the deity's will? You feel what I'm saying? So those things tie into the reality of the will. And what I'm telling people, I'm saying, yo, I can motivate you and inspire you, but I can't will you to do anything. Will is deeper than just, I want to do, like, will you do it? Will you to do it? You feel what I'm saying? People don't have the will to go to that next level. You dig what I'm saying? People don't have the will to go to the next level. You feel me? Because like I said, your will is tied to your soul and you don't even own your soul. I get it. People say, don't sell your soul to the devil. Well, you kind of give it up to the opposite side for free. They've convinced us to do that. You dig what I'm saying? Like when people were like, I ask a lot of, I used to feel this way. I ask a lot of religious people, what does it mean to sell your soul? And they be like, what does it mean? Well, you put a price on, does it, like, your soul is what animates your body. How do I sell that? Like, how do I give it to somebody else? Nah, it's, you give the control of your essence to another being, to another person to do what they need. They want you to do. So I would always ask, like, what's like, I didn't know my mission in life until I took my will back. Until I took the will back over myself and over my own life, that's when I was like, okay, now I have to be accountable. I have to have action. Like, in order for, and it got to the point where I was like, how do I make sure that my actions work? You feel what I'm saying? Like, I stopped being confused a long time ago. About 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago. That's when I stopped mentally being confused. I was no longer indecisive about my actions. I was no longer unsure and uncertain about what I needed to do with myself because my will was done. I know it sounds very, very blasphemous. But back to the part about me saying, we fluently speak a language we don't understand. Blasphemy is an insult to something holy. Holy comes from the Greek word of helios. Helios means the sun. So blasphemy technically is an insult to the sun. But I digress. Anywho, when it comes to your will, that is one of the hardest pieces that makes people not do what they're supposed to do with their life. You feel what I'm saying? Because look, if I got a life plan, if I got a life path, if I got a certain mission that I'm supposed to complete within this motherfucking world, how do I do it? I have to will myself to do it, right? I'm not knocking it. This is not to say give up your religion. It's not to say none of that shit. You feel me? But you have to keep in mind what you have been conditioned to do. And you wonder why a lot of us get stagnant and we can't do anything. You feel me? I watched so many people give up on their dreams because they said it just wasn't for me. What's meant for me, I won't have to work for, because God's just going to give it to me. Allah's just going to give it to me. Jehovah, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, they're just going to make a way for it to happen. So we don't know how to tap into our will, which is our soul's will. So like I said, you can draw an inspiration from anything. You can take in the spirit of anything, but you need to learn how to, once you take that spirit in, transmute it to bring your will into reality. That's where it gets hard, because I ask people, what's your will? Now, mind you, again, back to the language and the culture thing, we tie our personal will to death, our last will and testament. What was our first will? Think about it. When you die, you get a last will and testament, but you never, ever looked at your first will. What was it? What was your first will? I tell you what your first will was. Your first will was when you learned to walk. You willed yourself to walk. Nothing told you to walk because you can't remember that. As far as you know, you've been walking all your life. You only know that people learn to walk when you watch babies. Think about your personal life. You've been walking all of your life. You feel me? We learn to talk, right? Who wills us to talk? Ourselves. We want to communicate. Oh, you motherfuckers is gonna hear me crying. Don't do it no more. I have to say what you're saying so you can connect with me. I have to will myself to understand these words. I already got the motivation. That's why I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I already got the inspiration because I'm looking at you and I know that I want to say something. I draw on the right inspiration and now I speak. Now I talk. I willed myself to do that, right? Those are the first moments in which we willed ourselves, and we don't remember them because we've done them all our lives. Before the memory banks kicked in, before we had psychology says most babies start remembering about 2 years old, right? A lot of us learned to walk and talk before that. So all of our lives, as far as we know, I've been walking and talking. They really sit and think about it. Do you remember when you learned to walk? And do you remember when you learned to talk? Nah, you just know that you've been able to do the shit the whole time. You feel what I'm saying? Because your will was not controlled. Your will did not belong to something else. You knew what your will was. And because you knew what your will was, you willed shit to happen. You feel what I'm saying? The soul is powerful. The soul is powerful when we truly understand it. So like I said, back to the Aleister Crowley thing, when people say, do what thou will. Oh, he was a known Satanist. That, but hey, saying do what thou will, do what you will. Do the thing that you can bring into reality, that you can will into reality, because from the will, you get your thoughts. From the thoughts, you get your actions. You feel me? Again, let me say this one more motherfucking time. I am not a Satanist. I am not a devil worshiper. I do not fuck with that shit in any way, shape, or form. This is solely for the understanding of will. Sometimes you got to make people a little bit uncomfortable to get the point across. You feel what I'm saying? It's about will. Will you? You feel me? Will, you will yourself to do certain shit. You feel me? This is one of the reasons why when it comes to people that, hey, I want to learn something from you. I want to learn this. Okay, cool. This is why you got to pay me now. This is why, because I understand that I lose patience with motherfuckers when I realize they don't have the will to even do what they want to do. They get the motivation and the inspiration because they see, but they don't have the will to do it. So you're not going to waste my time when I know you don't have the will. You feel what I'm saying? I'm starting to learn that. People be like, yo, you got to have a spirit of discernment. People just want a spirit of discernment just so they can see how people, feel, or they're going to treat them, or when bad vibes is off and shit. No, if you have a true spirit of discernment, you can understand what a person's will is. What's your will? You feel me? What is your will for life? What is your will for living? What is your will? You feel what I'm saying? Tie that back into entrepreneurship. I know this is kind of broadening out to be totally different from entrepreneurship, but the nuggets are still here. So with entrepreneurship, it's like that's one of the biggest reasons why people fail. It ain't got nothing to do with not being successful. People don't have the will to win. People don't have the will to continue. They give up too easy because they believe, oh, if it's not easy, it's not for me. Bullshit. Bullshit. My perspective, and this comes from my inner will. If it's too easy for me, it's not for me. This is anything. Anything I gain fast, anything I learn fast, is too easy. If it's too easy, I don't want it. My will never even had to kick in for that shit to be what it was. Now, this is relationships. This is anything. Like when I gotta work, it's like when I say, yo, I will do this. For me, will is a lot powerful than it used to be at one point in time. It's no longer just, okay, I want to do this. No, I will do this. You feel me? No matter how long I gotta struggle, no matter how long I gotta go through the trenches and go through the fire to get burned and learn this shit, I will do this. No way around it. I gives no fucks about it. When I say I will do something, I will do something. You feel me? I was talking to a woman one time. This was a long distance relationship and shit. This when I was in Philly and shit. And it was like, you feel me? We were, vibing and shit. And I was young and dumb. You feel me? I was young and dumb, but what can you do? So me and her talking and shit, it's long distance and shit. And I'm like, I bet. So look, you can move to Philly and shit. Let me know when you're ready. I said, I'll go ahead and get the apartment and everything. She was like, nah, I don't know. I was like, I will. I will get it. Like, just let me know what's up when you're gonna do it. So we had the shit in the works. I had already put the work in. You feel me? I got an apartment, 2 bedrooms and all the shit moved in. I didn't even need another bedroom. Fuck. It was just me. You feel me? And she was like, I was like, yeah, I'm moving. I said, I will. I said, I will move it this time. Take that off of that and bring it back to entrepreneurship. If you've been following me, say probably about, I started saying this shit when I was in 2015, definitely in 2016. You were following me since 2016. You literally heard me post this. You've seen me post this. You heard me say this several times over. I said, I will retire at age 28. At age 28, I will never work for another person again in my life. I said, I will retire at age 28. On my 28th birthday, I said, I will not be working for anybody, right? 2 weeks before my 28th birthday, I turned in my 2 weeks notice. I never had to look back. A lot of people didn't really see where I was coming from with that. Hell, I didn't know what it was. I'm just finally able to rationalize it and put the shit into terms now. You feel me? And now people were like, yo, how are you still doing this? Because I said, I will. At 28, I was done. I said, I meant this shit. I said, I will never work for nobody again in my life. I will have the resources I need. Now, granted, I'm going to put another perspective to the willpower and shit. Be realistic. When you set a goal and you set an intention, your will is going to do it, but be realistic in the goal and intention. You feel me? My first year and a half post, let me see. Yeah, my first year and a half. Damn, so it's really only been, so my first year and a half busted my ass. My first year and a half after retirement, busted my ass. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I ain't even gonna hold you. Shit beat the fuck out of me. Why? Because my will still had the drive to keep going, right? But there was a lot of dynamics that I didn't factor in at all. But I meant what I said and I stuck to it. I said, I will retire at 28 and I will never work for anybody again in my life. The universe said, all right, motherfucker. Now I had to keep putting in the work. I had to keep continuing to put in the work. I had to continue to put all of the projects in. I said by 30, I said by age 30, I wrote this when I was 17 years old. I said by age 30, I will be a millionaire. No, I'm not a millionaire yet. Right? I had to say that shit real quick. But at the same time, also in 2015, I never forget, I told my big homie this. I said, by 30 years old, I will be a millionaire. And I said, if I don't have $1 million, I will still be a millionaire. I will have the resources to make me $1 million. And I'd be damned if I don't have them motherfuckers. I'd be damned if I don't have them motherfuckers. All of the resources that I have, it's just a matter of time at this point. Time and consistency. That's it. But I will do that shit. You dig what I'm saying? And I had to learn that the first aspect to it, the millionaire shit wasn't just $1 million. It's a whole mindset. I had to restructure my whole being to be able to will this shit into reality. And I did. So the millionaire had to come before the millionaire had to come before the $1 million showed up. By the time I reach $1 million, it won't be $1 million to me. And what I mean by that is it won't be something that I'm thinking of, oh, this was impossible. This is hard. This is like, and I'm not going to fuck up the money. I'm not going to fuck up $1 million. You dig what I'm saying? But I had to be a millionaire first to know how to do that shit. But all that came from my will. So this, like I said, trying to bring it full circle. This goes back into the conversation I was having with the homie. He was like, bro, you motivate me, you inspire me, but you feel me? I was like, yo, but do I will you? He was like, what? What do you mean, do you will me? Will me what? Do I will you? Can I will you? No, I can't. Your will is yours, or it's your creator's, or it's whatever it is. You feel me? Me personally, I feel like this. I'm created in the image of a creator, right? The creator, whatever the case may be. Therefore, the creator is me, and I am the creator. From the one come the all. Therefore, the all is the one. You feel me? It's my will. That's what I'm put on this earth for, to do my will. My will is what my soul's mission is. That's where the mind fuck comes in. People will tell you you're here to do a job. You're here to complete a mission. Your soul, your soul's work, your life's work is here for that. What fuels your soul other than your will? But how do you move when your will don't even belong to you? Fuck inspiration. Fuck motivation. If you can't even draw on your own will because you don't think your will is yours, you will never get to the point and do the things that you need to do. You feel what I'm saying? I know this is a very touchy one. This is a very like, oh, wow, I can't believe he's saying shit like that. Yeah, I have to say shit like that because at the end of the day, we have to break this fantasy. That's the reality of it. If you want to be successful, if you want to do it, you're going to have to be able to will yourself. You feel me? You're going to have to be able to will yourself. Oh man, I just don't have the motivation to get up in the morning. It's not the motivation. You got the motivation. You got the inspiration. You don't have the will. You don't have the will to get up in the morning and work the fuck out. Like, you feel me? I tell the story not to brag, but I tell the story for a realistic perspective. From 2016, probably to April of 2017 when I got promoted. So from 2016, March of 2016 is when I started working valet. Then when I started doing the overtimes and shit like that. Hey, it was still in March. This is like 2 weeks after that. So from March of 2016 to April of 2016, I worked fucking every single day. I say it like this. For that year, I slept 4 hours a day, right? This is not to say, yo, this is how you got to hustle. This is how you get the motivation. And everybody's like, yo, how are you still able to function and do that shit off of 4 hours? Mind you, I'm working in a valet, high stressful environment. You feel me? Then I'm working, like, I remember days I would work triples or doubles. You feel me? Back to back, like no problem. They're like, yo, how are you still up? I said, I don't fucking know, bro. I'm just not tired. It wasn't that I wasn't tired. I was using my will. My will would not let me fall. My will would not let me say, nah, I'm just tired. I gotta rest. You feel me? I knew the goal that I had to get, and I knew the mission that I had to complete, and I willed myself to do that shit. You dig what I'm saying? I willed myself, and that is the driving force that I have. My will. I can inspire you all day long. I can motivate you all day long. I can do all these things, but I cannot will you. I can only will myself. I can only will myself. And that was something that I had to learn about people. You feel me? And that was one of the things when I stopped telling people, yeah, you can do the shit. You can do the shit. Motherfucker, you can do the shit too. If I can do it, you can do it. No. I changed that. If I can do it, you might not be able to do it because you do not have my will. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now. All right. And with that, we're going to wrap up EntrepreNEGUS, whatever number I'm on, motivation, inspiration, and will. These are the things that I want to talk about. These are the things that I wanted to talk about because I deal with a decent amount of people who ask me the same shit. Yo, Sing, how do I do this? How do I do that? How am I? Like, you got to have my will to do this shit. But you can't have my will. You can't. You have your own will. You feel me? Your own will. If, in fact, your will belongs to another deity, cool. Ask that deity, can I use my will? or draw on the wheel that is supposed to be tied to that, whatever the case may be. But that is what's going to separate the good from the great. That's going to separate the relentless people. That's going to set the people that's just like, yo, how the fuck do you push through when times are hard? You feel me? How do you overcome failing? How do you push through and how do you get through these things? Like, what is your secret? My will. I will. When Jay-Z said, I will not lose, I was like, damn, bro, he never said he couldn't. Now I understand it differently. And when I look at the shit that, even from my perspective, when I started uttering the affirmation, I will not lose, I will notice that every time I took a loss, it was a learning experience. I only lost when I didn't learn. You feel what I'm saying? When I didn't learn. Now I'm at a position where it's like, oh, I get it. I will not lose. I don't will a loss in my life. I don't will myself to lose. I will myself to win or learn. That's it. That's it. You feel what I'm saying? It may knock me down, but I'm gonna get my ass back up and I'm gonna learn what it takes to not fall again. Like, I was talking to this sister and I was like, she was like, never say never. I said, but I could damn sure say never again. I'm sorry. I don't like I can say never, never. You can put the never say never shit in there, but I'll be damned if I can't say never again. That's something that I can't say. I may not be able to say I will never do this or this will never happen, because it could. You feel me? It could. But I can damn sure say it will never happen again. Again, ever. You feel me? And mean that shit. Because the reason why if it does happen the first time is because I didn't know what the chink in the armor was that made it a reality. Oh, that's how it fucked me up. Okay, not again. You feel me? I can adjust and adapt because I learned. You feel what I'm saying? But that comes from my will. Like I said, and So Frail, shameless plug. So Frail, a reality to black male masculinity. I mentioned the mind, the body, and the soul. And I said the body is the action. The mind is the thought. The soul is the will. The will forces the action. You know, the will invokes the thought. The thought carries the action. Continued action strengthens the will. You feel me? This is a synergy. This is a synergy. Your will sparks your thoughts. Your thoughts spark your actions. Your actions strengthen your will. To spark your thoughts, to trigger your actions, to strengthen your will. It is a cyclic motion. As long as your will is gone, all you'll do is float back and forth between action and thought. You're just literally doing shit. There's no purpose. There's no intent. There's no rhyme. There's no rhythm. There's nothing but doing shit. But your will, it focuses it. Some say it's the drive. It's whatever. It focuses that win. So that way you can do the right actions and have the right thoughts. It's one thing to have a thought, because thought precedes action. You feel what I'm saying? But will precedes thought, and will directs the thoughts. See, you can have any kind of thought that will lead to any kind of action, but will defines what your thought is going to be, which in turn directs your action. You feel me? My will said I was going to retire at 28, which strengthened the thoughts to say, okay, what the fuck do I need to do to retire at 28? I need this amount of money. I need this here. I need to know this skill. I need to know this resource. My actions forced me to learn them. In that affirmation, I said, I will never work for another motherfucker again. You feel me? What thoughts were led to that? What thoughts were sparked? Well, if that's the case, you need to understand this resource. You need to understand this resource. There were so many motherfucking things I had to learn to make this a reality. A lot of shit I had to learn, but there was a lot of action in it. But none of that shit would have been possible if my will wouldn't have been solid. My soul had to be on point. So now I can tie it in extra to this point here. When it comes to the will, when I inspire people, they're taking a piece of my will. You dig what I'm saying? You're getting a piece of my will, but I have to ask, what are you doing with it? This is why I always ask every year, what the fuck, anybody that's ever told me, yo, Sing, you motivated me. You inspired me to do X, Y, and Z, but did you do it? Did you do it? Don't tie me to that shit then. Don't tie me to that shit then, because you took a piece of my will and did nothing with it. My will was something that you took in because it inspired you. You took it in, right? You used it to overcome your inertia, motivation, and you did nothing with it. That's not fair to me. I'm selfish with that one right now. I'm gonna be selfish with that one. That's not fair to me. If I motivated you, if I inspired you, you didn't like you took my will. It's my will that motivated you. It's my will that inspired you. And it's my will that you did nothing with. How do you think I'm supposed to feel about that shit? You feel me? But on the other side of that, this is why I encourage people to learn how to use your own will. So that way you can inspire yourself. That way you can motivate yourself. People ask me all the time, where do I draw my motivation from? Where's my motivation from? What inspires me? Me. 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 Nah, I'm bullshit. I'm bullshit. Look. But nah, on some real shit though, it is me. If you've been following me on Instagram, if you notice a lot of my posts, they seem random as fuck, right? Some of them, but like any of the posts that end with peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. Those captions are me talking to myself. That's my inspiration. I literally go back to it. And damn, I hate when I tell my secrets. But anyway, I knew that Instagram at the time was about likes. The number of likes you have, you feel me? It is what it is. Now they took the shit away. You don't see the likes. However, you still get notifications, right? When I know that I need something to spark and stay in my head, I make an Instagram post out of it. This is where I draw my own inspiration. My will writes the post, creates the caption. 90% of the captions that I make, 90% of the posts that I make are mine. They're directly to me. It's me talking to myself. How do I reaffirm it? The more people that like it. I leverage other people for my own inspiration. So when I make a post that it seems, oh, this was so deep and it was really my will, my soul talking to me. I put it down and I know that when I post, I know this shit gonna be fire. I know now. I know at this point because this is what everybody fucks with. So when I know that, bam, this like showed up, I know which post to go to see who liked it, who liked it. Same people pretty much like a lot of the same shit. They be like, yo, your post has got me through X, Y, and Z. You've gotten a piece of my will, but I needed to inspire myself. I needed to inspire myself. So I left this. So when you like it, when somebody likes it, it triggers me to see it. When I see the likes, I go back and see what was liked and I see if it's the post that I just posted. Bam. It forces me to read it again. Because I'm like, what point did they like? When people comment on it, I pay attention to what part they commented to. You feel what I'm saying? What part they commented to. And in knowing what they commented to, I reread it again. I reread it several times until it imprints into my head and I inspired myself. My motivation, the same way. What sparks me to do shit, I just do it. When I feel like doing something, I do it. I learned how to draw on my own motivation. You feel me? Nobody has to do anything for me outside of me anymore. I don't listen to motivational speakers. I'm my motivational speaker. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like when I want to tell myself, when I want some help doing something, or I want to spark, get me started. Let me get me started. I do it myself. I learned how to do it myself. But it's the will. It's the will to do that. I've learned how to draw my own inspiration. Everybody got their own thing. Like I said, Jordan would, when he knew he needed to turn up in the game, he would say, oh, this person trash talked me. And they said nothing to this man. But in his mind, he had already set his will on the intent that, yo, this motherfucker said something to me. I got to destroy him. And what would he do that night? Go out and destroy the whole team. And he'd be like, yo, but he didn't say nothing to you. I know. I needed some inspiration. That's the power of a will. You feel what I'm saying? That's the willpower. That's what willpower really is. You feel me? So I made this episode because I want my fellow entrepreneurs, people as a whole, if you want to achieve something, Motivation and inspiration isn't enough. You need will. You need the will to do it. You feel me? Like I said, if your will belongs to something outside of yourself, cool. Tap into it still. You feel me? But at the end of the day, you need will to tap into it. Learn how to inspire yourself. Learn how to motivate yourself. Because what do you do when all of those things are taken away from you? Do you quit? Do you give up? Like, you feel me? I gotta make posts on multiple pages that have nothing to do with each other every fucking day. You dig what I'm saying? I have things that sometimes I don't want to fucking do shit, bro. Sis, all y'all. But it doesn't matter what I want to do. It's what I will do. You feel what I'm saying? 2 podcasts an episode, two podcasts a week for a year, all at least an hour and a half to 2 hours long. I don't sometimes be wanting to do that shit. I really don't be wanting to do this shit. I be wanting to chill, put my feet up and watch some motherfucking TV or something. Well, I don't really watch TV. I really just watch Netflix and whatever else I can control. But anyway, that's what I be wanting to do. But I will do it. You feel me? I remember one time I was working fast food. This was before I moved to Philly, because it was my transitional phase between med school and entrepreneurship. Crazy how the world happens. This was literally the turning point in my life. But after med school, I was contemplating going back. Even like I said, that's how I ended up in Philly, because I went for a master's program. It's crazy how things work. I just had to get to Philly because that was going to be the place to spark me. But I'm working fast food, and one of my supervisors asked me, he said, "Yo, do you want to do X, Y, and Z?" I said, "No." He said, "Damn, that's rude." I said, "That's not rude. You asked me, did I want to?" I said, "No." Now, will I do it? Yes. If you want me to do it, if you need me to do it, I will do it. But do I want to? No, that's not the question you asked. You feel what I'm saying? That's not the question you asked. And I do that to a lot of people nowadays. Like they be like, "Do you want to do X, Y, and Z?" No. Damn. Ask me the right question. Not being an asshole. If you need me to do it, I will. But do I want to? Probably not. Probably not. I don't want to do shit, but you feel me? I will do it if I have to. That's a separating factor. You feel what I'm saying? Life has to be like that. There's going to be, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur, especially you're going to be putting in this work, there's times you don't want to do something. There's times you're not going to feel like doing something. But will you? Not a question. That's an imperative statement. Will you? Sounds weird hearing it like that. Like, what? Because you expect the question, will you? And you're going to say yes or no. No, it's a statement. Will you? Will yourself to do that shit? You dig what I'm saying? You got to will yourself to do that shit. Simple. You feel me? When you start to learn how to will you, inspiration is easy to find. I can find inspiration in any fucking thing. Look, case in point, if you follow my main page, you feel what I'm saying? If you follow my main page, you can see a post and then like the caption will have nothing to do with the fucking post. I drew on the inspiration from that. The inspiration could have came from anywhere. You feel me? Sometimes I'll be feeling like, you know what? I want to teach a certain lesson. I want to teach a certain topic. I want to tell somebody some shit. You feel me? I want to teach somebody about something. Bam, a post will come up. Boop. I'll do a whole different caption that got shit to do with the post. I draw my own inspiration. This is the level that you have to get to within yourself. Be able to inspire you. You feel me? If you can't inspire yourself, you lack creativity, which is a blockage in your sacral chakra anyway. But if you cannot draw on yourself, if you cannot inspire yourself, you lack creativity. It takes creativity to do that. Now, remember when I was talking about creativity? Remember when I was talking about the genius? And nobody is a genius. Everybody has genius. And I was talking about the demons and how in the Greek they call it the daemon, which is your dark side of yourself. That's where creativity resides. Go figure. The one thing they tell us to stay away from the most is the reason why we can't tap into our own inspiration, because we don't understand what our dark side is. You dig what I'm saying? This is not to say practice demonism or no shit like that. Get your mind right. But the reality of it is true. You feel what I'm saying? If you are not creative, if you cannot be a creative person, you're gonna struggle drawing on inspiration, your own inspiration. You feel me? Which is also going to make it hard for you to motivate yourself. Overcoming the inertia to just get up off your ass and do the shit. You feel me? Can you do that? Can you draw on your own self to make you get up off your ass? Nah, that's one of the hardest pieces about the entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? Everybody said when you start working for yourself, one of the things that motivate, this is another piece that I had to draw on my own motivation, because it was like, yo, how do you stay focused and keep doing it knowing that you're not working for nobody anymore? I channel my mind and say, I'm now working for everybody. I don't have one boss. I don't have one supervisor. I don't have one I have millions of people that can potentially be my bosses. That's my motivation now. I just switched it. I use that as my inertia. It's like, damn, bro, I can find another motherfucker to pay me. I can find another motherfucker to have me sit and perfect my craft that they want to listen to and want to hear. You feel me? For whatever it is. You feel me? That's my motivation. You know, I learned how to draw on that. Another deepest piece that motivates me is the fact that, you know, I shoot so far forward in life. Like, I plan for my great granddaughter to be comfortable. That's a different level of motivation for me, which then in turn it strengthens my inspiration for myself, which then makes my will that much stronger. You know what I mean? But all of these things are as far as the success goes, that's where your life needs to be. That's where your perspective should be derived from, and what you should draw out. Your success is going to come when you understand your will. You feel me? When you're able to understand and you utilize your will to its absolute highest capacity and start to strengthen it, you feel me? My will is only stronger because my actions. I do a lot of shit. You feel me? Intentional shit. I will shit into existence. And because I keep willing shit into existence, I get excited about the shit. And it motivates me to do more. Yo, damn, what else can I do with this? Like, yo, I could really do this shit. I wish I just never lost my will. I wish that I never lost my will. I feel like if I would have never lost my will as a child, you feel what I'm saying? Or if I would have known how to tap into it as a child, I'll say that. If I would have known how to tap into my will as a child, my life would have been like years advanced, far more. I would have been farther ahead of what I am. But the good thing about it is that I can teach my child how to do it when I have them. Teach them how to do it a lot faster than I did. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the reality for me. But I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Use your will to use your will to be what gives your own motivation, your own inspiration, and strengthen itself. You feel what I'm saying? For anybody, if you're listening to this, if you've ever uttered the words that seeing you motivate me or seeing you inspire me to do X, Y, and Z, and you ain't doing shit with your inspiration or your motivation, understand that you have stolen a piece of my will and you have done nothing with it. I don't fuck with you for that. No, I'm bullshit. I fucks with you still. I'm just putting shit into perspective. This is what you need to start. When people say they inspired you, they're inspired by you, whether they are aware of this or not. What they have done is they have taken a piece of your will, taken it in, but have they done anything with it? You feel me? Have they done anything with it? Low key, this is why motherfuckers pay me now. You feel me? Because I always say this: you'll waste your money before you waste my time. You feel me? I'm pouring all of this into you and you do nothing with it. You feel me? So you got to pay me if you're serious. Because I'm going to do my part. And if you don't do yours, then whatever. But anyway, that's that. I'm going to end that. Make sure you kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And teach them, like, watch your children. Watch their will. Like, watch their will in action. If you got kids, nephews, whatever, watch little kids' will in action. This is why kids are fearless. They understand their will. Their will is fairly active, very active, and they don't shut the shit off. This is why kids' imagination is so deep. You like a kid will say something very fanatical. You be like, but they still have that creativity, that imagination. They still have that to inspire themselves. You dig what I'm saying? To inspire themselves. Therefore, kids don't need no motherfucking motivation. You feel me? When the last time you seen a kid need motivation to fuck some shit up? They just do it. Think about when a kid writes on the wall. What process has to go through a child's mind for them to write on the wall? They were motivated, they were inspired, and they willed that shit to happen. You feel me? This is what I wanted to do. They willed it into existence. It's powerful. Because we got to make sure we don't kill that in our babies. But we also got to fine tune it so they're not just fucking writing on walls just because. You feel what I'm saying? Because that could very well be their inner artist coming out. You feel me? They're banging on pots and pans. That's their inner musician coming out. They understand. They know how the best way to get the result of what they're trying to get on, it's on us as adults and those who have experienced and understand will to fine tune it for them. But I'm gonna leave it at that because this one's getting long. Be sure to kiss your babies. Make sure to eat their vegetables. And I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.